Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to USfanTV Live. I see that some of you are already here waiting for us to go, and we weren't even here yet. We were just talking to each other, figuring out what the hell we were going to talk about. But I think we have it figured out. And I think by have it figured out, we're just going to have you guys throw us topics, and then we're going to talk about those because that's typically what we do anyway. Except for like a few notes.
You're just calling us lazy. That's not true. We do actually have things to talk about tonight.
We generally do, yeah. But like the sheets that I would put together when this show started versus the notes that I put together now, it's not nearly as extensive. I kind of rely on whatever you guys want to talk about. So thanks for being here because you help us do this. I don't know if I would call it a job. Are we doing our job? We're not really being paid for this. This is more our hobby, I think, if anything. This is USfanTV.
Of the people who've commented, I've always said, like when Christian and some other people asked, we're going to continue this during the summer or whatever, I said, we really have no plans to stop kind of ever. This is
what we would do anyway.
This was really, yeah, we kind of do this on our own anyway. TJ, kind of like here, TJ is sometimes involved in those discussions. Other people are sometimes involved in those discussions. We really just do it in front of other people now. And I know people were asking last time, we do intend to, that was one of our 2017 resolutions, and we are getting kind of into 2017 to maybe follow through on it. We do intend to actually have like guests and things so we can, maybe sort of have our own news here or, get some more in-depth commentary. That it's not just two dumbasses who follow this stuff way too closely, perhaps, than they should, or far more closely than they should, and then talk about it all the time.
Yeah, actually, the thing is, the summer will be better for us because
absolutely,
men's national team will actually be playing or have games. There's quite a few games between qualifying and the friendlies and the Gold Cup, so that'll actually make it a little bit easier because right now, going into the last week of the club season with stuff mostly figured out and everybody just kind of wanting the season to be over with. And in a lot of cases, it actually is kind of harder to talk about this. There's less to talk about. But yeah, we'll keep doing it because, what else are we going to do? The only thing we have to do is like set up the scarves and stuff. That's the only real work. Otherwise, it's just talking, and that's not hard. We do these shows Tuesday and Thursday nights after 8 p.m. Central time. If you don't know, if you've never seen one before, if you're new, but most of you guys have seen this before. The show topic, the one that I put in the YouTube title, Reading versus Huddersfield, will be our, what do they call it, the most expensive game in football, the last match to get into the last Premier League spot. I do love that game, by the way. And for our purposes, both teams have a U.S. interest. Reading has Danny Williams, and Huddersfield Town is coached by David Wagner, former U.S. player. So I guess the question is, do we have a rooting interest here? Is there a guy we'd rather see succeed next year and be in the Premier League next year?
Well, I mean, I would say that, as U.S. fans, we want Reading there. It's unclear what Bruce really thinks of Danny Williams. He doesn't seem to bring him up. He doesn't seem to talk about him a lot. But I don't know, having a kind of defensive / box-to-box midfielder, regular starter in the Premiership, even if Reading sucks next year, it's got to mean something. It should stand out, and it should probably earn him some more looks. So, for our purposes as fans, I think you want to see Reading. For our purposes as USfanTV, I think Huddersfield might pay off for us. Kind of like
we had fun with Bob Bradley. I think
yes,
we had basically our highest viewership numbers ever. And there's still a fair amount of Mexico fans who like to watch our videos we posted from Columbus. It's like sort of Mexican soccer porn.
And every few weeks they like to go in and make fun of us.
Yeah, but it's fun watching us be sad to them, and I understand that. I completely get it. But the best time that we had for the show, the craziest time, was the Swansea, around the time that Swansea fired Bob Bradley, because those Swansea fans were finding this show and viewing us as biggest idiots they'd ever seen. It was like there'd be a few guys who were cool. There'd be the fans who wanted to like teach us, like we'd never seen this sport before, like we don't have it here. And then there were the assholes basically who, anytime we used a word like soccer or something like that, were jumping down our throat. I'm like, you're watching our show, buddy. This is not a show in England or Wales. This is a show in America. So we'll use the words we damn well want to use. But it was so much fun getting so much hate from a lot of those people. And I wonder if it'll be the same thing. If I mean, obviously it's a different sort of thing because Wagner's the guy who is getting them to the Premier League if he does succeed. So he's going to have a lot of goodwill among their fans.
Yeah.
And he's also, I mean, you could argue he's more German than he is American, but you could have that argument with any of our German-American guys, and it's kind of a dumb argument to have. So, you know, he played for us. He's an American.
Take that, Reading. Or
Leipzig's hearing that
stupid fans.
Leipzig sources are telling him that Bob's going to get the Barcelona job. So look for that. He's never wrong, guys. So look out for that. Yeah, I've heard Bob getting the LAFC job too. That was kind of a big deal for a while, and I'm hearing now he's not. I don't know what he's gonna do. Didn't he interview for the Norway gig too, the Norway national team job?
I think that's correct. Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, you know, I suppose he doesn't have to work, but he's certainly not to a point where he sounds like he has any interest in retiring. And I think the Swansea thing really kind of bothered him. And, you know, he wants to, I think he wants to prove himself. And so he wants to get back onto some kind of larger stage. I could see where if nothing comes through, maybe he takes the LAFC job. But otherwise, it seems to me that MLS is almost beneath him at this point. You know, he might come back here if the money was right, kind of like his son did. But will it be a dream job to him? I don't think by any means.
No. I'd like to see him back here, though. I'd like to see him coaching somewhere. I think he's a good coach, and he's not going to get a Premier League job or anything like that again. But, just like to see if that's what he wants to do. I'd like to see him do that. But that time at Swansea, probably it was like the highest of highs, and then it got so toxic at the end. He might just be taking a breather and saying, "We'll see what opens in 2018." I don't know. I
mean, there's sure to be changes going on in the next month. So, there are a lot of things that could be happening over not even the next month, over the next couple of weeks. So really, there's sure to be a lot of things to happen over the next 4 to 6 weeks probably.
Leipzig's joking that Bob's going to get the Arsenal job. I'm not kidding you. I think I'd take it at this point, just to get Wenger out of there. But I don't know.
I might take anything right now, but
Bob's not my first choice, but I don't think we're going to get our first choice there. So, Timmy Howard last night, did you see any of the Fire playing like Barcelona, dribbling and passing around Colorado at all?
Looking like Barcelona?
Bridgeview Barcelona, yeah. Bridgeview Lona. Let's coin that right now. The Fire look really, really good, which makes me very, very happy because it's been a long time. What was the stat that I sent you yesterday? They
hadn't won. What was it? More than 3 games by 3-0, and since
back-to-back
2004,
games
is that right?
Back-to-back games by 3+ goals. First time they've done that since 2003. So
think about that.
But they looked good, and I honestly, they scored all those goals.
Been
but
that
I don't
long
think
since they've lost 2 games in a row.
I don't think that Timmy looked all that bad yesterday. The players in front of him suck really bad, and he did have a few nice saves. He had a really nice double save that I thought he played well. Timmy does that thing where anytime they concede a goal, he starts immediately screaming at the defenders. But he's always done that. But I think
But at least he wasn't screaming at fans.
That's true. That is true. He did not.
There is that.
He did not tell anybody to go fuck themselves, or he did not fight anybody in the hallway. As best I can tell.
Tim Howard suspended because he said "fuck you." Yeah, we don't need any more of that. We need him playing. I think short of well, hell, he wasn't getting nutmegged.
That's true.
So I think short of, I don't know, breaking a bone or something, like getting some kind of injury that's going to keep him out, he's our starting keeper through the summer at the very least.
Yes.
And Gold Cup, no, because we're not going to waste him there. But yeah, through the qualifiers in a few weeks' time here, yeah, he's our man.
It does concern me though that our two top choices at keeper, one of them is leaving a situation right now where he's played for a horrible team, and the other is currently playing for a horrible team. At least Guzan is going to be going to Atlanta, which is great for an expansion team, and it seems like a pretty good operation and a pretty decent team. So he's not a bottom feeder there, but it's got to do something to you as a keeper to just get beaten into the ground left and right and have it, even if it's not always your fault. I don't know how you maintain your level of confidence over that. And, Timmy's got a lot of experience and a lot of confidence, but it can't be easy for him having, what do they have, 7 points at this point in the season? It's just not good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's what he expected he was getting into when he came back. But yeah, they're just not good this year. And I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't, they have a lot of things that they need to do to improve, but that's kind of, that's sort of just a regular trope there. I don't even know what to say to watch that or to truly get them better, make them better, but this isn't what I think, Howard thought he was going to get into when he signed on.
What do we think of Sean Johnson? Simon wants to know as a long-term.
Yeah, I was part of the reason I was stumbling there trying to talk about Timmy was I was already thinking about answering the Simon's question. We both like Sean Johnson. We met him when he was playing for the Fire. We got autographs and pictures with him and stuff. He was cool. Back then, we were both hoping that long term he was going to be. I think we both wanted to pass Bill Hamid and be Howard's long term replacement. But I just don't think he's kind of progressed over the last few years. Now, some of it may be that he was playing for such a crappy team at the Fire that it kind of didn't matter what he did. Unless you are, in a sense, what at times Tim Howard is. You're not really going to look like you're succeeding at such a poor team. So maybe it destroys your heart, your drive, your initiative, and maybe that's part of what happened. If we really want to talk about it, TJ loves to talk about how he doesn't feel like Sean Johnson kind of continued to progress in his vision of the game, and maybe that's true. But to me, we got to see more of it this season to truly, I think, get a better understanding, because my feeling is over the last few years the Fire were so bad that unless you are just a game changer shot stopper, it doesn't really matter what you do. And to me, I think that's too hard on most players' egos or hearts, so they just can't. They struggle with it, I think, and I think maybe I'm willing to give Sean Johnson the benefit of the doubt there. But in the meantime, I think the problem is a number of guys have kind of passed him in the pecking order. So what do we think of him? I don't know if it matters. I mean, I think Bill Hamid, should he not be on crutches for 2 weeks in a row, is well ahead of him. Luis Robles maybe has got to probably be battling for kind of who's next up out of MLS right now.
Robles is not. I mean, he's not a long-term choice, but he's the guy.
No, especially not at his age.
I'm most comfortable with who's not named Tim Howard at this point. I
Yeah.
feel totally fine with Robles there. It's kind of sad because it's a position that we dominated for so long, and we always had that next guy. We had guys like Brad Guzan who, you know, laugh at him all you want, and you can laugh at him this year, but he's a very good keeper for a long time, and he's just played second fiddle to Timmy most of the time. So if he comes along at, you know, if he's coming up through the ranks right now, he's automatically our starter after Howard's done. But he came along at the wrong time, I guess. But it just doesn't seem like we have that guy. We've talked about that a bunch of times in the show, but maybe it's a need. Maybe we'd go with Robles for a while, and we see where, you know,
Bingham is an option. Leipzig. I know you're joking, but yeah, Bingham actually is an option. He's just not had a great start to this season. I mean, he's certainly not going to be over Howard. But all in all, he's not a bad choice. He just hasn't had a great start to the season. He's kind of showed some of his weaknesses this year. So I think, you know, he's slipped a little. I think that's why probably somebody like Robles is perhaps in the driver's seat for something like the Gold Cup, because Raimondo, I could see. I mean, I expect he's going to get called up to the Gold Cup roster. He may even make the qualifiers roster as, you know, our number 2 or 3 guy. But to me, he's kind of showing his age. It's finally starting to catch up, and, you know, maybe age and size or whatever. What he's always had going for him was just kind of his steady personality and his, you know, his relationship with the team. He's still got a lot of that, but he's losing, I think, some of the skill as he gets older. So, you know, I think you got to look at, he's probably only got maybe another year or 2 left.
There's a pro-rel discussion going on the topics right now.
Yeah, I was.
The short answer on pro-rel for, I think, both of us is this. We like it. It would be cool to have. We don't think it's realistic to implement when you have a bunch of owners who bought into the idea that they wouldn't have to face it in the first place. It would take U.S. Soccer saying, no, you're doing it, and probably then a lawsuit to sort it out. So do I think it's going to happen? No, unless it's a MLS 1 and MLS 2 thing that comes along only because the expansion fees are so great that the owners say, okay, I'm willing to risk dropping to MLS 2 because I'm getting, you know, 300 million or whatever it is at the time for the spots beyond number 28. And at that point, then you maybe just take your money and run, which I think a lot of owners would. So maybe that's the only way we get it. And it's not a true promotion and relegation. Then it's a closed system, which, you know, isn't the best, but I think that's the only realistic way that we get it in the US, because I don't think these guys are going to agree to it otherwise. But I would like it. I think it's fun. And Leipzig made a good point. I can't believe I'm saying those words. Americans are glory hunters, and I do think it would be different here than in Europe or in Mexico or anywhere else. I think that there would be people who just flat out abandon their team when they get relegated because they're like, well.
There is that, and for the teams that, you know, are consistently bad, I could see where that happens. The one thing where I think pro-rel does benefit people is it does give you a championship or something to fight for like the winning team in the lower league, who, yeah, sure, they may suck for the 2 years they're up, but they had all that goodwill coming before that, so they were building a fan base there. They were building something, and I think it does give then smaller market teams more of a chance to do something. You know, I always look at, having spent a lot of time growing up in Milwaukee, you know, I look at like Brewers fans here, and it kind of sucks to be a Brewers fan most of the time. I mean, maybe not this season. You know, once in a while the Brewers are good, but all in all, yeah, they have 82 and 2005. And it was
after that, because I was up there.
2013. I have to try and think of like when. And
those aren't even championships; those are playoff appearances. So, did you leave again? Wait, I see your head.
Got a phone call in there. I hate that it shows up on my iPad.
Who calls anyone anymore?
I know. So anyway, what the hell was I saying?
You're talking about the Brewers, which we probably don't need to talk about anyway. So
yeah, my point is just I think you could see then how lower level teams would have something to play for and get excited because they could be trying to win a championship at a lower level, and then they move up to the higher level, and at least the fans are engaged, even if they're a crappy team.
Yeah.
But no, it is generally true that Americans are not particularly good sports fans. We go to a lot of stuff, we attend a lot of things, but we mostly sit there. It's one of the reasons I find a lot of sports so boring.
That's why we like baseball. You sit there. I don't even know what's going on when I'm at a baseball game half the time. I'm just talking to people and drinking a beer. But I don't like baseball that much. So,
Yarborough, I like him. I was commenting here a minute ago. I like him as a sweeper keeper. You know, I think the real reason you have him out there is he's good with his feet. The problem is he also makes some bad choices because he goes out and plays with his feet. So, you know, he does come as kind of a double-edged sword. If he didn't have that issue, I think he would absolutely be in the mix. Yeah, I think that's where guys like, you know, Horvath maybe keep getting the look because it looks like he has everything to be a star. He is finally getting playing time now at Bruges, so maybe that means something for him. But he's not regular enough that it matters. I could see where Yarborough maybe gets a call up, like to the Gold Cup this summer. It would be nice to see him get something. I don't think he is. I don't think he's holding out for Mexico. From everything he said, he said that, you know, he feels at home in both countries. So I think he's kind of left the door open. But he's also said that he feels like he is American, or he wanted to represent America or something like that. So I don't think he's holding out for Mexico. I think it's more that, you know, we just haven't really picked him. I think he's kind of in that mix of like maybe 4 to 8 on say that the maybe 10 deep keeper list, and any one of those guys you could kind of swap for another, and I don't know that you necessarily gain or lose a lot. You know, the things you might gain here, you lose over there. I think they're all kind of interchangeable.
The U20 World Cup starts Monday, and we play Ecuador.
See,
I feel as good as a person can feel about a youth team going into this tournament, which is to say, I have no idea.
I mean, there are some things that you want to see. Brooks Lennon does seem like he could be a truly good professional player. Josh Sargent, they're going to try him out here and see. You know, he's moving up an age bracket. Is he going to look as good as he did in the 17s championships? I don't know. We'll see. So there are, and you know, there are other guys. What is perhaps, I guess, a big deal to me about it is more that for the number of guys who could be playing in it and aren't, we actually still have a pretty decent team. It does make you wonder, like, who could we, what kind of team could we field if we actually sent all of our best U20s? And that's not even counting, like, of course, that kid Christian Pulisic or whatever could be in there. So, you know, discounting him entirely, we could still send a pretty incredible team.
And two of those guys, Weston McKinney and Haji Wright, are actually going to be in the first team for Schalke this weekend, which seems to me like a sort of a we didn't let you go to the World Cup, so here you go type situation going on there, which I guess is fine. Good for them. Hopefully they're able to do something with the shot they get. Hopefully they get off the bench. But I still would have rather them with the team, with the U20s. But obviously, long term, I think first team football in the Bundesliga is better than a youth World Cup, as is the case with Christian Pulisic. So that's the goal. But if it's just going to be a thank you, sit on the bench type situation,
I'd rather see where they get a shot. I mean, Ingolstadt's already been relegated. It doesn't really, this game doesn't mean much. I think that's probably why they're doing this, is like, give the kids some chances. Let's see what they look like. You know, it's a game where there's not a lot of pressure. So, you know, can they go out and show something? I don't know that you're going to see all of them start, you know, all the young kids that they've brought on, but I think you'll probably see Maybe a couple younger players play or start, and maybe a couple come in as subs. So you can actually get some semblance of an idea of what maybe they have next year or some point in the future.
And Matt Miazga might or will find himself in a different place next year. Do we have a preference as to where he lands? Because I obviously he's not going to be able to play with Chelsea, even though he's still Chelsea property. Where do we want to see him go?
Yeah. Goal.com is reporting that he won't stay at Vitesse, but he's not getting called up to Chelsea anytime soon. I don't think anyone was truly expecting he would. They have 35 players or whatever the hell it is out on loan right now. So
that's what they do.
Yeah. I'm not really expecting him to make it anytime soon, if at all. But depending on what happens, this could be good for him. I know that PSV and Feyenoord apparently are both have both been asking about him, or at least that's what the rumors are. The nice thing is Chelsea seems to want to get him into a bigger team where he can play bigger games, more important games, and keep improving. So they are at least looking out for his betterment in that regard. So that's positive to see. I guess it will depend on where he ends up. He was a big part of Vitesse's team, so it was good for them. Does that mean he is good enough to be, say, a starting defender at PSV or at Feyenoord? I don't know. We'll have to see. But you got to hope that he gets somewhere bigger and succeeds, so we can keep moving up. And if he does that, I mean, really, I think it's probably that next move wherever this is. If he can get into a kind of a name team and be a regular starter, I think that's when you start looking at now he becomes a starter or a regular player for the full national team.
It'd be fun. I mean, somebody 20 minutes ago mentioned Huddersfield as an option. I don't know enough about their situation, but it would be cool to see him in the Premier League and playing for Wagner if they do make it. So it's that old thing we talk about on the show all the time. Get him to the place where he's playing the best possible place that he'll still be playing. So that's what you want. That's the balance.
Look at Hindman. The talk's been on him for years, but he never kind of panned out, or he wasn't making it all the way into the full national team on a regular basis. And then Bournemouth, he got injured and he wasn't getting his chances. He goes to Rangers, and suddenly, if not for this latest injury, I think you probably would be looking at him at least in the Gold Cup, maybe even because of the injury to Jermaine Jones and the questions of who's going to play alongside alongside Michael Bradley. Maybe even pulled into the World Cup qualifiers. I thought that was probably a bit of a leap for him, but I wonder now if maybe he won't get a call up to, assuming his foot is good enough that he can train and things, if he wouldn't get a call up to like the camp for these qualifiers, get him in practicing with these guys, see what he can do, but then you let him go back and still like get in for preseason training at Bournemouth. So hopefully he's playing come the start of the season.
Leipzig's bringing up something a discussion we've had many times, which is there are guys who can't get a game with the Argentina national team who would be the best player we've ever had if they were with our team. So it sucks, but that's how far ahead they are right now. And that's we talked about that a few weeks ago. Just how do we get to that level? That's a ways away, and they don't even win the World Cup. So that team, a team of all-star, like just world-class guys at all positions, they don't even win the World Cup. They came very close, obviously.
What's his name with the scar on his neck? Went to West Ham because of all the big scam on who is really holding his contract.
Payet?
No, from Argentina. Whatever. Anyway, to think that, yeah, he couldn't even, he's not even playing for him.
Tevez.
Thank you, Carlos. Yeah, to think that, they just kind of go, yeah, we got enough.
Carlos Judas Tevez.
That's funny, Simon. You're right, Leipzig. Part of the issue is Argentina, the players kind of hate each other. I mean, that's really why the Netherlands never wins. They create some incredible players, but they all think they're individually gods, and they hate the other ones who get the attention. I used to always notice that Wesley Schneider, Robin van Persie, and Arjen Robben, like, never you'd never see more than two of them ever, like, after somebody scores, like, two of them may give each other a high five. You never see all three come together.
You wouldn't want to help the other guy out like that. That's, it'd be nice. I'd take any of those guys. It'd be great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you even look at certain guys who've chosen to play for other national teams, and even that, we'd probably have our best player ever. I don't want to say, speaking of a Judas, someone who has played for Italy, shittily, despite being born in New Jersey, or I can't think of his name, but the striker for Hertha Berlin who plays for, Croatia. I don't know, one of those Eastern European countries, who could have played for the U.S.
It's I will say this, though, for all the things that FIFA does wrong, the fact that they have pretty decent restrictions on who plays where is a good idea, because in basketball, like a girl I used to work with is married to a pro basketball player, and he played for the Croatian national team. I can tell you that he is not Croatian, but this goes on in basketball all the time. He got a passport. And so in basketball, all these American dudes, and in women's basketball too, they all go play for different countries because we produce so many players who can't make our teams that they can go other places. I'm glad we don't do that in soccer. I'm glad we don't have, Argentine cast-offs playing for the U.S. who don't have any family or residency tie here. I like the fact that you have to have some sort of family tie or having lived there to be able to be considered. That's the one time I'm ever going to say anything nice about FIFA, but I like the rules for the most part. So, have we hit the end of the line here, guys? I think we probably have. I've got a sore throat and my voice is starting to go out, so I don't have much longer.
I was going to say a couple things. One, I kind of touched on with the Heinemann injury, if that could mean that maybe it gets called up to the World Cup qualifiers, at least into camp, but he doesn't actually play. Like, he just gets sent home near the end as a way to just get him in with the team and reward him for playing well. But you're not risking his foot, and you're giving him time to get back with Bournemouth, so you're not interrupting his preseason training. The other one, Bruce did note that he wants Dom Dwyer, Mr. Sidney Leroux, in the fold. So it sounds like he's going to get a call up this summer.
Good.
I expect that means Gold Cup. I don't think we're going to be testing out new forwards in Mexico, but that's one area where I think we can probably name the 4 to 5 guys who get called up right now. There are a number of other positions that I think we need to kind of finalize our list, and we need to do it pretty quickly, since those games camp isn't very far away now. We got to make our predictions probably in the next week. I'm
a little surprised we haven't come out with a.
I was realizing tonight, like, how close we were getting to it. I was like, oh yeah, normally we would have done that by now. So
not just us.
We slacked on this.
I'm surprised Bruce isn't out with some sort of list at this point. I mean, Mexico's had theirs for a few days now. I don't know if he's going to do a 30-man and then whittle it down or something like that. Maybe he just wants to do a 23 or something like that, a more concise everybody makes it roster. But I mean, to me, I would do what Mexico did. I'd name a 30 man and bring them all in. And then, you know, if not everybody makes it, they can make the Gold Cup team too. So you've got them in the fold already at that point, which seems like a better idea to me. But
well, and I think some of the guys in the full national team are going to carry over into the Gold Cup. Just one, because you can, and two, I think it's a good idea. So it's, as much as I've you know, been watching things on like the internet, on Twitter or whatever, people calling for like, oh, we should just have a totally different team in the Gold Cup. No, we won't. I could see it being kind of like maybe an A-, B+ team, something like that. You know, it's not going to be a B team there, because one, we want to win it while we have our best chance, but also you want some level of consistency so you can judge the other players against it. I mean, if everyone's new,
right.
You don't know, did they fail because they're all new and they don't know what the hell they're doing? Did they fail because this guy sucks? You need some level of, okay, if everyone looks terrible tonight, but we have 8 of our regular starters in, then we're not going to judge those 3 new guys as harshly.
That's a very good point. That's maybe the best point you've made tonight. It's not saying a lot.
That's what I do.
That's not saying a lot, but that is a good point.
Come in strong late.
That's what I've been told about you. This is USfanTV. The website's USfanTV.com. We have the Twitter and the Facebook and the Instagram. They're all USfanTV, but we hate Snapchat. We're on Craigslist, but we don't list our real name there, so you have to search us out and find us. We have YouTube, but you know that
Craigslist is better than Wando.
Craigslist is better than Wando. We have YouTube, but you know that because you're watching this. Subscribe if you haven't. Thank you to everyone who has. We are blown away that people actually want to watch us talk about this crap. Chris, do you have any final words?
Fuck Wando, and you are done.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. You're done.